All right, peace and blessings, everybody. It's Wednesday, June the 13th, the year 2018. Got various letters here from Patrick Hoffman. This appears to be him telling his story, so let's read it. He wrote it on May the 30th, 2018. To whom it may concern, if you are reading this, it is a true story. It has no end, as yet, for I am still alive. Though there are those who wish for my demise, they are wrong in intent, and maybe what I have to say will clear their mind, so that they may see things as they truly are, and go in a good way. My name is Patrick Gene Hoffman. I am a prisoner of Washington State. My Department of Corrections number is 232336. I am an American Indian. I am out of time and I am out of place. I have been imprisoned by a pack of lies generated by a batch of officials who are or were puppets of a larger government sect who continue to try to eradicate the native people from this continent. And I am speaking out against those who would continue genocide against me and my people. I am an American citizen, born in the United States of America in 1949. The Colville, C-O-L-V-I-L-L-E, Colville Reservation is my place of birth and was my home until it was taken from me in 1986. I am and always will be a true American. My heritage is half Colville Indian, half Irish. I am a direct descendant of 4 hereditary chiefs of my tribe, 2 from my true father Elmer E. McGinnis, and true from my true mother, Barbara Quill Stanger. I can't read it. In 1986, a group of elected tribal officials thought it was in their best interest to bring charges against my father that were false and discriminatory, and intended to make him appear that he was mentally unstable. Never mind that those officials' drug of choice was cocaine, or that millions of dollars in gold had been taken illegally from the Mount Tolman project on the reservation, or that another tribal official had been murdered to keep the public from finding out these actions by the elected officials, as directed by federal officials wanting all chat we Colvilles had left to us. Directed by federal officials wanting all that we Colvilles had left to us. It brings me no pleasure to know that they have all passed away in the time of my 30-year incarceration, even knowing that they are the ones responsible for my imprisonment. They should have done better as representatives for our people. Instead, they brought charges of trespass lands against my father and sent him legal papers to appear in court. Trespass lands is a Class D misdemeanor. My father refused the papers at the post office, which later infuriated the tribal prosecutor, Mr. Woodfield. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. To the point where he disregarded his position and the law and had a bench warrant issued against Mr. McGinnis for failure to appear. So a few days later, my father was at council chambers at Neopolim, can't read the word, and the council chairman called Police Chief Smiskin to come and arrest Elmer McGinnis, which they did after quite a struggle where a file cabinet seems to have been dropped on Elmer McGinnis' chest, breaking 7 ribs and causing him heart arrhythmia. Trouble was, the arrest warrant was for failure to appear, and the appearance date was 5 days in the future. So we now have an unlawful use of force in an illegal court, in an illegal arrest. Everything else that follows as tribal police actions is based on this illegal arrest and is therefore all illegal conduct by the tribal police, whose sole intent was not to arrest but to kill. The shootout that followed and the arrest in federal and state court for first-degree premeditated aggravated murder are false and lack proper jurisdiction. A federal prosecutor by the name of Hicks was presently involved in another case involving an Indian woman named Yvonne Wandro, who protected herself and family from unlawful intrusion and other possible violent acts by killing the intruder, not wanting to re-argue old ground involving improper police actions and unlawful intrusion in federal court. Trouble was, he had no proper jurisdiction in the matter and so opted for trial in state court. But it was the same problem there, improper jurisdiction. State and federal courts claim that because benefits are paid to healthcare and highways on the reservation, that they have jurisdiction to try cases in criminal courts. To try cases in criminal matters, or because Indian reservations are encompassed by state and federal boundaries. Both are untrue. Payment of benefits is an obligation under treaty and carries no true jurisdiction value. It is the same pertaining to state and federal boundaries encompassing our reservation. Our land was once up to and beyond all present inscribed boundaries. We are the keepers of the land, and it is who holds the land that is the one invested with proper jurisdiction on it. What land that has been taken by these governments have been taken unlawfully and not as yet been paid for at fair market values. So tribal courts had sole and only jurisdiction to try for alleged crimes. Therefore, the tribal council members told the then tribal judge, Sheila Cleveland, to bring criminal charges against my father and me. Sheila Cleveland said no, they did nothing wrong. See court records. She, having witnessed the entire shootout and aftermath, stated that she saw shots fired first from positions where the police were located and not from the back of a chicken coop where McGinnis and Hoffman were located. That is total exculpatory evidence which exonerates McGinnis and Hoffman. That should have been the end of it, but it was not. So the tribal council takes it to Okanogan County and requests them to try based on Sheila Cleveland's court affidavit. Okanogan County refuses. Then the tribal council offers and later pays $50,000 to Okanogan County to try McGinnis and Hoffman for alleged crimes on a reservation. Up until the point of offering and paying $50,000, everything is legal after everything becomes illegal and becomes a cover-up for an illegal police action of attempted murder of McGinnis and Hoffman. Special Prosecutor Hicks from the Federal Prosecutor's Office in Spokane arranges federal payment to the Tribal Council $2.6 million after our arrest and another $2.5 million paid after our conviction. Those funds used to derail our legal appeals by placing cash in select judges' pockets. In 2006, the widower husband of the late Joanna Allenbaugh, Mr. Richard V. Allenbaugh, came to visit me, stating that his late wife had requested him on her deathbed that he do something in an effort to gain my freedom because she thought she had incarcerated an innocent man. Now, if you are an attorney who has valued the legal system as a good thing, then you will do your very best to get true justice for a first American and help me gain my freedom. Since all accusers have passed away since this mess started, and the only problem being the then prosecutor Jack Bouchard, it would make sense to bring a discrimination and malicious wrongful prosecution suit against him and his Marshall community, maybe, that he took a bribe from the 1986 Tribal Council, got elected with no opposition, manufactured and destroyed exculpatory evidence in our case, and proceeded to defame my character in the online prosecutorial version of my trial with my father. I am born and raised Catholic, and I know Jack Bouchard is Catholic, and because of this, I know that Mr. Bouchard trips to Walla Walla State Prison for religious activities in some way to try to pay his way into heaven for his perceived sins of inflicting wrongful injury upon me and my father. He fears the loss of his immortal soul due to his persecution of me and my father. If you sign on for this, it will mean lots of work in the beginning, but there will be an adequate payday when all is done. The state of Washington and the federal government owe me much in damages for 30 years of wrongful incarceration. The lawsuit against Mr. Bouchard would be a something to gain. I can't read the word. Tool to gain. His full cooperation and assistance, and since all who would prod him to do otherwise are passed away, he would have no problem cooperating with us to keep what he has and to clear his soul of guilt. The lawsuit against Mr. Bouchard would be a tool to gain his full cooperation. Okay. My intent is to become legally free again, to marry my fiancée, Agnes Abramsen, and to put forth a program I have adequate knowledge of that would make all my peoples, not just my tribal members, but all my people, financially independent and free from any unlawful intrusion from any local, state, or federal government. It is time that all people who care about their freedom to what is good under the law to take back their rights and send those law enforcement and political officials who would misuse the law and their position for unlawful personal gain packing. Thank you for your time and consideration in reading this, and for your valued assistance in helping a first American regain his freedom and his life. Please allow me to direct you to enclosed paperwork that further proves my freedom. Other court documents of support are available. Again, my thanks for your complete reading and helpful responses. Sincerely, Patrick G. Hoffman. Okay, then he goes on page 9 of this document. He wrote this on November the 3rd, 2016. A statement of fact by Patrick Gene Hoffman, 232336. Previously in EB 38, Coyote Ridge Correction Center, Connell, Washington, 99326. Now in the hole there. To whom it may concern, I, Patrick Hoffman, have been incarcerated in the Washington State Prison System for the last 30 plus years, doing a life without parole sentence for a crime which I did not commit. My father, Elmer E. McGinnis, died in Washington State Prison Hospital at Antonin View, Yakima, Washington. He committed no crimes either. I did not kill Jose or L.O. I can't read the word. I did not kill Lo Millard. I did not wound John Dick, both alleged victims in our alleged crimes. Neither did my father, L. McGinnis. Elmer was first to get shot in the chest, and I was unable to see by who, we were unable to determine who or where the attackers were. The prosecution claimed I destroyed the alleged murder weapon, a KB-99 9mm handgun that my father bought for me some 18 months to 2 years previous. I did not. I had a valid concealed weapons permit for 7 years before and up to that time. Had either one been officers shot by me, they would have been shot with a .45 auto, which I acquired 6 years previous from a former tribal police officer who left the force because the force was doing things wrong in his thinking. If Elmer had shot either officer with the 3 shots he claimed from the 9mm, they would have been hit with a 15-grain aluminum hollow point, not 38 special rounds. On that were taken from Lou Millard's body at autopsy, or as one that removed from Elmer during our trial, which was support to be entered into evidence at trial, but was switched as Elmer claimed when another bullet was entered into evidence. Judge Joanne Allenbaugh was aware of all of this being our trial judge, and so before she passed away in 2004, 4 years after Elmer's passing, on her dying bed, she requested her husband, Richard V. Allenbaugh, that he do all he can to help me gain my freedom because she was sure she had imprisoned an innocent man. So in 2006, in near the end of the year, he came to visit me at Monroe Reformatory and told me what she had asked him to do for me. I did not know how to use that then, how to get it into court. I tried several attorneys with no help, and my then wife, Penny Hoffman, divorced me, taking $40,000 Elmer had left to me with his passing. So I was penniless and without money or hope or caring. I went out to want to get out. So after getting to CRCC, I got a letter from Agnes Abramsen, who has become my wife in the native way and is the love and the light of my life, and I sincerely hope that this writing helps to get me free so that we can be together in what years remain in our life together. Patrick G. Hoffman, November the 3rd, 2016. To whom it may concern, this is another letter written by him. My name is Patrick G. Hoffman, DOC number 232336. I am an enrolled member in the Colville Confederated Tribes. I have been falsely accused and convicted of first-degree murder and am presently serving a sentence of life without parole for a crime I didn't commit in 1986. I have served 30 years for law for something of lies. I think it's a pack of lies. My CASA has been regularly used under my case has been regularly used under Indian law to support tribal sovereignty on reservation lands in the United States, yet I am held prisoner because the tribal council then in 1986 paid the Okanogan County court system $50,000 to try my father Elmer E. McGinnis, now deceased, and me, and finding guilty of killing a tribal officer, so that the real murderers, a fellow tribal officer, could go free, and the police system not to be found wanting. The whole matter lingers on a faulty tribal arrest warrant for Mr. McGinnis, where in the refusal service of court papers ordering him to appear in tribal court, an arrest warrant was issued for failure to appear for the hearing and was acted upon by Police Chief Henry Smiskin and two federal officers. Two-something officers. I can't read the word. Trouble is the appearance was 5 days in the future, so one comment have a failure to appear arrest warrant served when the date of appearance is still 5 days in the future. That makes the warrant invalid. And so any action based on the warrant, such as arrest, unlawful, as well as any alleged crime action based upon it, unlawful. The charges of the case arise from this unlawful act by law enforcement and the resulting attack on the McGinnis property, and our arrest, trial, and conviction are based on this faulty arrest warrant. We were branded criminals because we exercised our rights as United States citizens to oppose unlawful intrusion and arrest by some misguided law enforcement acting under the color of law. The truth of the matter is the officer was killed by the same law enforcement weapon as was also the bullet taken from Mr. McGinnis at trial. Photos of both something to show that came from the same weapon, a Smith & Wesson .357 police service revolver, and not from the 9mm which I had given to my father to protect himself that night after unknown people were invading the property. My father claimed that he fired that weapon 3 times, and those 3 were Winchester. Those 3, can't read the word, were Winchester bullets. Those 3 bullets were Winchester 9mm aluminum hollow point. So how could we have killed the officer when the bullet removed from the officer that killed him was a Full Metal Jacket .357 projectile? Further, the prosecution continually made claims that we destroyed the weapon, when the truth is that the prosecutor had it destroyed after it was found near the property. The something why is quite simple. The reason why is quite simple. Test firings would reveal beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was not the weapon that killed the officer. And so the prosecution would truly have no case and would not get paid out the $50,000 to Okanogan County to convict us, nor the $5 million, see Tribal Tribune 1999-1987 July, dollars paid to the tribal coffers after our conviction. I am now 69 years old, having spent nearly half my life, 30 years in prison, and for a crime which I did not commit. It is time to set the record straight and let an innocent native elder go home. The 9mm bullet casing are still in evidence in Okanogan County and support the truth of what I have been saying these past 30 years, that I am innocent. Thank you for your consideration and any and all assistance you may choose to render. Sincerely, Patrick G. Hoffman. All right, I'm going to read this too. I am Pat Hoffman. I was given another name at birth and another later in life, but this one is who I am known by. I was convicted of a crime that I did not commit and have served 31 years of a life without parole sentence. My father was convicted of the same crime and died an innocent man in prison. I was married for 18 of those years and thought we were happy until my dad died and left me $38,000, and things changed, and that wife left with that money that was to be used to set me free. After that, I was alone in prison and planned on staying that way until such time as someone gave me a good reason to go out of this life as a warrior. A friend gave me the name and address of a lady in Europe who he thought would be of help and that we would be good together. But then I was not ready for another relationship and was still inclined to give my previous wife time to consider whether divorce was truly what she wanted or not. Then I was transferred to another facility, and the address of the lady in Europe that my friend gave to me was lost in the move. 2 years later, I was in the process of petitioning for clemency, and this letter came to me. When I looked at the address of the letter, I was surprised to see it was the address of the lady in Brussels, Belgium, that my friend had given me 3 years earlier. I knew then that it was far more than mere coincidence that she would be writing, and that our correspondence would turn into one of the strongest and most beautiful relationships of all time. We found through our letters that we were connected on many, many levels, as though we had known each other in previous lifetimes. Over the months, she finally came to visit me and meet my family, since letters were no longer enough, and to find out what we were feeling in our hearts was the completeness we had both been looking for all our lives. And that first visit, she came with my niece, and we hugged, and she said closely, "I'm home." And she said closely, "I'm home." And I kissed her lightly and her lips, and knew what true love we had been looking for had not only been formed, but that we would not lose each other to anything or anyone else ever again. We were married that next year and have continued to endure the hardship placed on us by the ones confining me, but we will overcome that. 100 years earlier, I would have been called Wanaka by my people for saving my father's life in a confrontation that nearly killed him. The people would have made me an honor shirt, each member of that group giving a lock of their own hair to be sewn in places on the sleeves and the front and the back of the honor shirt. Wanakas is a save alive warrior. My dear Agnes had a dear mother who had something bought a leather shirt for her, and no one wore it because it did not feel quite right. So at the powwow at Coyote Ridge Correctional Center on the day we were married the Indian way, she gave me this shirt, an honor shirt that can only be worn by a Wanaka, a save-alive warrior, one who goes into battle not to kill but to fight for and to save those who are unable to fight and to protect themselves from enemy attacks. Agnes did not know about the shirt or about Wanaka until I told her and how I saved my dad, and the meaning of the honor shirt and the meaning of Wanaka. That only a son of a chief can become a Wanaka, and that the reason her mother bought and saved for her the shirt became clear. I made Agnes cry, but not for sadness, but because in a flash of remembrance she knew that I was the son of a chief, that son of a chief she had seen in her dream as a little girl, the man she would come to America to help get free from prison. If I were offered a bag full of all the most precious jewel stones as money as all the stars in the night sky, if only I would turn Agnes away and tell her not to love me anymore because I did not love her, I could not do so because I would have to lie. Come what may, whether she is able to find a way to set me free, I will love Agnes for the rest of my life with my whole being, to the last breath. And when everything else is gone, let me hold on. And when everything else is gone, the honor shirt will be there to tell our story, and two people have a world apart from each other. Two people, half a world apart from each other, found each other to give each other all the love in their hearts. It is said that good things happen to good people. Well, this is our story, Agnes and me. My nephew Charles had a dream state vision in 2011-2012, where he saw in the vision that a lady with a light-colored hair was bringing me home on a motorcycle. And at that time, he didn't know where I was in the system, and Agnes, who has very light-colored hair, was not in my life, yet not known to any of my family or me, but she is the light-haired lady in his dream. It is hard to imagine a perfect life. It is even 1,000 times more difficult to imagine what it is like to be shot by others in the middle of the night, to watch the silhouette of your father falling from a gunshot. You return gunfire at gunfire, thinking this is where you and your father die, but you repel those who are shooting, and you move your father away only to have him seem to die in your arms. You run 86 miles in less than 2 days on foot. You go to a friend only to find that the police are looking for you and coming for you and your father and claiming they are looking for you, claiming you and your father killed police. You turn yourself into the law because the police have your sisters in a jail known to rape women. You go to trial. You and your father are found guilty of a crime neither one of you committed. You are sentenced to life without possibility of parole. You serve 30 years to 2016. Along the way, you are married for a 20-year period, and then your father dies and leaves you $38,000 plus $2,000 to get an attorney to get free. But the woman you married leaves you and takes your money to get free. You are devastated. You give up trying to gain freedom. 7 years pass, and a friend gives you an address of a pen pal to write. You are not ready for other outside contact. You are moved to another prison. You misplace the address in the move. It is lost. Then 2 years later, you receive a letter from the person whose address you lost. You take it as a sign that you are to correspond with this pen pal, who is a marvelous lady, who becomes your friend, your partner, to help you win your freedom. The love of your life, whom you have been searching all your life with your heart for, the soulmate who has been the spark within your heart all along. She lives half a world away, and she sets everything else aside and travels 13,000 miles to visit you, to kiss you, and to whisper in your ear. She travels 13,000 miles to visit you, to kiss you, and to whisper in your ear, I am home. She does this not once, but 9 times so far. She loves natives. She visited the home land where you grew up. She has met your people. She becomes your wife and vows to give her life to help you get free. How much more perfect do you need? The story is not over until we are free. That will come soon. At 67 and 73 years, we need to have it soon. Why? Because love is what matters, and near perfect is a pretty good position to be in with Agnes as my loving wife. Patrick G. Hoffman, number 232336.